also we took it over. It was really poorly performing, had 30 clients, built it up to 300. And then I sold both of those businesses in 2009. I was ready for a change. And I became a business broker, helping other people sell their businesses and buying businesses and all that sort of stuff around that, which is where I found one of the businesses that I currently own. And I'm a retailer. We have a couple of shoe stores, and sort of the quick journey there is that I bought the one store, which was doing really well. And then we bought another store, and then we opened a third store, and then we closed the second store because it was suffering. And, we had made a move and all sorts of stuff. And one of the things with entrepreneurship is that you got to be good with the risks and the rewards. And sometimes there's awesome rewards, and sometimes there's some pretty big hits. And that was a big hit for us,
Right.
There's a lot of lessons learned in some of these things as we go through the entrepreneurial journey. But through that journey of 27 years to where I'm at now, and I've got a couple of other businesses, including one that is on hiatus because of COVID, where we convene everybody for these big liquidation shows and stuff. Well, I can't, in Ontario where I live, we still can't convene a whole bunch of people in a given spot. So from that perspective, it's been on hiatus for the last 2 years. And, lots of different things. But one of the things that I've done always is I've had a great team around me, which allows me to look at these side hustles, which allows me to introduce some of the stuff we'll talk about today, and also allows me to do my coaching, which is what I'm spending majority of my time on these days, talking on my Simplifying Entrepreneurship podcast, talking to people like you, and actually coaching leaders and entrepreneurs in their businesses.
It's funny that you say a few of those things, but you talk to people about becoming an entrepreneur, and I know as a business broker, you have ran into so many people that were serial W-2 employees, and you're going, hey, this is not as hard as you think. You can do this. It's probably some franchises that you were selling, and business in a box. Hey, they help you out. I'm here to help you out. That kind of thing. I had one of my friends this morning. I'm taking my kids to the dentist, and he calls me while they're in the dentist, and he goes, "Man, I'm thinking about going on my own." And he's an electrician. And I go, "That's great," because I'm an entrepreneur fan. I'm like, "That's great, man." And he's probably 36, 37, yep. And I said, he goes, "But I'm just really scared." I was like, "Well, yeah, that's my podcast is Burn the Ship. The reason it's called Burn the Ship is you have to burn the ship. There's no going back. So you either do it all the way or you don't do it at all." And he goes, it's just real nerve wracking. I said, "I can understand that." I said, in my experience, the nerve wracking part wasn't starting it. To me, it was the bumps along the way in that first year, 2 years, that a lot of things, little things could put you out of business. But really, the thing that I told him is listen, the only thing that really truly can put you out of business more than anything is yourself, and not going to work every day, not having a great attitude, and just, I'm successful because I never quit. That is literally my success, medicine is I kept coming in. I kept doing, I kept pounding. I said, so at the end of the day, if you've got the work, go do it. I said, you can start out part-time. You can do some side gigs on the weekend and see if it's something you want to do. That's the beautiful thing about, the service industry, is you can dip your toe in the water. So there's things that you can't explain as an entrepreneur until it just happens. So the field teaches you more than any other person can ever teach you.
It's a great journey.
Yeah.
And I've been there doing the service businesses. I mean, I could tell you in the cleaning business, we focused on bathrooms, and we'd go into restaurants and retail and all that sort of stuff. I have scrubbed more sinks, toilets, and urinals than everybody listening to this podcast today combined in their entire life. And I probably did it in 1 year. But from that perspective, you need to do what you need to do to grow the business so that you can set the business up for the future, right? And we all get into business because we want a better future. That's the idea. The biggest thing there is that we need to create and craft our business to deliver what that future is. And knowing what that future is where you all start from the basis. And I think we get mired down in the frustrations and putting out the fires and doing all these things of day-to-day business and management within business that we kind of lose track of why we got in business in the first place. And to me, that's to create the freedoms that you want in your life and to transform those worries and acknowledging what
Sure.
those worries are, acknowledging what you actually want out of your life, and creating the wins, the frameworks around that's going to get you there so that you can truly live the life that you want to live. And
Hmm.
for me, like, I have no intention on retiring. I love working, but I love the work that I do at this stage, because I've set my businesses up, is the work that gives me energy, not takes it away.
That's right. Yeah, that's
It's
right.
the stuff that at the end of the day, it's like, wow, I feel awesome. As opposed to at the end of the day, you're kind of like, oh, that was a big one, you know?
Yeah.
And do I have those days? Sure. We all have those days as
Hmm.
business owners where you're feeling like, whoa, that was a big one. But ultimately, the majority of them are it's like, wow, I'm working in my genius zone. I'm doing what I love to do. And
Yeah.
I've got my systems in place, which are kind of the 4 P's that we were going to chat about, around the idea of making those happen so that I can live the life that I want to live through my business
Sure.
instead of for my business.
What would you say, like, picking what you do is important as well, whatever that business you buy, because you got to love to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
again, when I get home, typically I'm thinking about what I'm going to do the next day. I'm addicted to entrepreneurship. Really, not,
Yeah.
it's the money follows. I've never been money motivated. It's more of success motivated, and reaching that next goal, and the money always followed. But what would you say to an entrepreneur that what you pick is important, and then how do you stay happy? How do you take that frustration out and stay excited about what you do?
Well, for me, that's this idea around, you know, you have to be passionate, which is another P, I guess we could
Mm-hmm.
talk about. But the passion in what you do. Sometimes, with business owners, as a former broker, you're buying a cash flow,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're buying or you're creating a cash flow, because that's the main reason why businesses go down. They don't have the cash flow,
That's
right?
right.
So you're either buying a cash flow that's established and you're paying a premium for that, or you're buying, like I did with the cleaning company, one that has a poor cash flow at a discount. So you have the idea that you're going to create it. Did I love scrubbing sinks, toilets, and urinals? No, I didn't. But I knew that was the method to what we needed to do. I knew the vision of what we were trying to do, and I knew what we were doing for our clients and how much
Mm-hmm.
they appreciated what we were doing every day. And that's what I sold on as I went to create the cash flow and all of those sort of things. That was a means to an end, because as I was able to build that sort of stuff, I didn't clean as much. I was stepped off that, and I was able to get into the things that I truly like within my business. So that portion of my business, the actual physicality of doing that work, wasn't
Mm-hmm.
my favorite part, but I was able to create the right process that enabled me to move up into my level of genius, which
Sure.
is having the conversations, doing the sales, managing and being a leader within my business, so that I could have everybody else underneath that sort of framework doing what they were best at and
Mm-hmm.
living in their genius zone and working in their areas of
That's right.
expertise, so that we all work together to deliver our promise to our client.
Yeah, I talked to an entrepreneur yesterday as well, and it's kind of the same thing. He has a trash company, which is a great business to be in.
Yeah. Awesome.
He's is 17, 18 roll offs, and he's getting in the residential. And I said, we're looking at investing in his company, and I said, look, we got to get you out of the truck, because he's still in the truck. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's
No.
a mechanic that owns a shop. They turn the wrenches at some point, but once they open that shop, they're a mechanic still, but they're a business owner too. And
Yeah.
you gotta get out from behind that truck at some point, and run the business and let somebody else drive the truck. And that's kind of like what you just said about cleaning the toilets. Everybody's got to clean toilets. It's just when can you stop?
Yeah.
Because some people stop too early. They stop cleaning toilets too early. They stop driving the truck too early, and they're like, I've made it," and they haven't. So you got to know when to get out from under the engine of that car and get into the office and start growing your business, and when is the time to turn wrenches.
Yeah, you got it, Jay. And when I look at that, it all kind of starts with having the right product, right? So once we align that product or service, in that case,
Mm-hmm.
with the garbage truck operation, making sure you hone that down and you get it built to a big enough area that you've got some cash flow and things are rolling and all that kind of stuff, then you got to develop your processes. And around that number 2 is process. There's so many processes in our business, and so often they're undermanaged and underutilized, and not, they're old processes that don't mean anything anymore. So really nailing down some of that stuff that revolves around basically your operations, your marketing procedures, your people, your personnel, all your clients and all those things, nailing down those, and then having the right people. And I categorize the right people in 3 different levels. 1, the right team. Do you have the right team that's actually working together and contributing with your culture to deliver your promise? The next one is the right suppliers, or anybody else who's the guy who's supplying you the trucks for the garbage trucks and all the different things that come into play. Those are
are they good partners? Yeah.
And then the last one, of course, is having the best and your perfect client, right? And always be looking to have a better client. And some of your legacy clients, by the way, typically are not your best clients, because they may have been good 2 iterations of your business ago before you were growing. But now where you're at this level, you have to go back and revisit some of those. And it's the people, the process, and the product that drives the profit, right? And we talked about the profit earlier. And, from the profit side of things, that's when you can start buying your time back. That's when you can start elevating out of the truck, like your guy, because now I can hire a management team.
That's right.
And the next thing to do is, when you're moving from being the management and the manager, the day-to-day manager, is you're coming up into this leader box. And when you're in the leader box, it's a different situation. It's more about communicating the goals and more about all that sort of stuff, so that you're able to have people underneath you with full accountability, so that you're driving, basically the truck is a turnkey operation now. Right? It's a turnkey operation. And that's what we all want as leaders, so that we can get our freedom back.
How do you promote to your entrepreneurs on hiring and the struggles of hiring in 2021? Because that's a big deal these days.
Well, the great resignation, they say. And when I look at what's going on here, people are leaving their businesses because they don't know the why.
Yeah.
It's a leadership issue.
Yep. I agree.
When the leader is not telling them, including them, working like every week, every meeting, you have to let everybody know why we're doing what we're doing, what we're doing for the world, what we're doing for our customers, how we're making their life better. And we use this sort of solution around the framework around, you can put it in your one-liners, you can put it all over your website, all this other stuff. But basically, you want to say, what is the problem that you're solving? And then what is your solution that you're offering, so that they can have a better life? Because that's what everybody is buying. Everybody's buying the problem to the solution. You're the authority figure in there in the middle, supplying the solution. You have to let them know what that solution is. Now you can help them along that journey to have a better life, because everybody wants a better life. Whether that's somebody that's working for you, like you were just saying, how do we hire? You need to go through that same procedure. Or whether it's somebody that you're selling to, you need to go through that same procedure. What's the problem they're facing in their current organization if we're trying to hire somebody? What's the solution, and how is your business different? And how is their life going to look afterwards? And how is it going to be better than they currently are? And if you can outline that in your job descriptions and in your marketing pieces when you're putting it out there, and in your conversational interviews with the people that you're working with, you're going to have a lot more success in bringing on the right fit team member to deliver your promise to your customer.
That's incredible advice. And I want to step back, because I talk about mentorship as well, because one of my best mentors, and I've known him since I was in my early 20s. I worked with a company with him, and he was the big dog then. Now we're more colleagues, and we talk all the time. I talk to him. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's from Ontario as well. Nice. He lives down here in Atlanta now, but he says process too. So people in the South that don't know what you're talking about, you mean process or process? So
systems.
Systems. That's it.
It's not a P, but we can call it systems.
That's right. Process. I love it. Yeah. Well, and I think that I probably got on people's nerves a lot, but I always gravitated if somebody was doing better than me, and it could be in a different industry that was 10, 20 years older than me that been through it, and I wanted to drink coffee with them all the time and go out to have early drinks with them. And if I have a bad day, that's when you really want that mentor. That's when you really want to be around there. It's like, dude, this is normal. This is normal. And I feel like anybody that I teach, and I don't own a company like yours, so I just do it because people walk in and I love talking about it.
But that's where I started.
Yeah, pick a mentor that does really well in business and bug them to death, man. Bug them to death, because most of them want to help you, and continuously talk to them, because that's going to keep your spirits up as well. But you'll also learn a thing or two along the way. You might not make the same mistakes they did.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? The word mistake. So a mistake is a learning.
Mm-hmm.
And from that perspective, I've had a lot of mistakes. We've had a lot of failure, but we've had a lot of wins. And the people that I coach and the people that I work with, we share those kind of things. We work through those kind of things and discuss them. Ultimately, I'm the coach, I'm not the consultant. And there's a big difference there. If you think about the Olympics, we just got off the Olympics, or you think about, NFL just started again, and we're rolling through the NFL season or hockey season, whatever the case is. The coach isn't the person on the ice. The coach isn't the person on the field or didn't run the race, but they're there right beside them in the guidance to deliver the best future for that athlete. And the consultant is a different thing. So if you want somebody to do your marketing for you and you want somebody to post your social, then you hire a consultant. That's generally not a coach. The coach may, if you have a marketing coach, they may gear you around how to do some stuff and some of the copy around the things and get your mind flowing around what you need to think about and all that sort of stuff. But they're not the done for you model. The done for you is consulting, whereas coaching is there, like you were talking about a little bit, as a mentor, as an accountability sort of thing, at working through these things with you, so that you can have a better future within your business.
The coach is also looking at it at a different perspective too. They're not emotionally wrapped up in it, and it's just a different perspective, because you're seeing, and we're taking the analogy of hockey or football or anything. They are literally looking at it a different angle. So they can see things that you can't see, and we're not metaphorically, but literally, they're looking at the whole thing different from you, so they can give you different advice on how to do it. And it works in business all the time. You just got to trust the person that you're talking to. I love it,
and that's a big one, Jay. By the way. You got to trust the person that you're talking to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So let's go through the P's, the 4 P's. I know you've mentioned from. Let's list them out so people can know. And then how can we get a hold of you? How can somebody that wants to be an entrepreneur talk to you, wants to buy a business? I'm sure you'll talk them to death on that, right?
Sure. Yeah. So basically we outlined them already, but just to recap those 4 P's, think about your product and look at it from, the product, the process, the people, and the profit bring you the freedom, right?
There you go.
So think about all 4 of these things in sort of this framework. 80% of your current product offering is awesome. 10% sucks. And 10% you need to be looking for continuously. You always have to be looking for the next best thing to offer your promise to out to your existing clients and to new potential clients, right? So it's time to carve off the old stuff, the stuff that's not working, maybe some of the legacy stuff, or maybe some of the stuff you've tried, it just isn't sticking. The process, do the very same thing. Look at all the processes in your processes, systems.
I got you. I got you.
In your business, and do the same thing. Take out the 10% that nobody's using or are useless, that you thought you may need, but you don't.
Right.
And if you don't have these listed, boy, you've got some work to do. Start today and start listing what those processes are so that you can move the ball. And if somebody leaves, they're going to be able to take it over right away, as opposed to the retraining and all this other stuff. There's tons there. And then the people, all 3 of those layers, you should be dashboarding and sort of having sort of ideas around who you want to work for you as your team, with you as your team, and making that even better. How can you make that culture? We had a couple of chats about that already. And then the next thing is your suppliers, those other people, the wholesalers, all those other people that help you create your product. Do you have the best ones? Is it time to get rid of a couple? Is it time to look for a few new ones? Same with customers, right? Same with customers. Creating the ideal customer. Look at your customers and how you work these little spreadsheets out. We'll just take a customer. You look at your very best customer. This person, you couldn't ask for a better customer. This is your 100%er. And then you look at your worst customer, the one that oozes, that sucks all the energy out of you, that costs you money, that takes your time, all of that sort of stuff. And you list them down, right? And then you start building your little dashboard. Okay, this is what we need. This is what we don't need, and what's in between. And you're rating your customers based on that. And when you start doing that with your customers, your suppliers, I have dashboards for my suppliers, all my suppliers with my shoe stores. It's like, here's where they rate, and I show it to them.
Yeah.
You might as well know.
Yeah, you're number 3 right now. You need to be number 1.
And that's what we do with our employees too, by the way. The people that work with us on our team, we show them how they're doing every quarter.
Yep.
Like, that's what you need to be doing, right?
Yep.
And so that when you have the product, the process, and the people in place, all 3 of those lines of people, then you can create that profit. And the profit's what, like I was saying, most entrepreneurs, most business owners, the one thing they want back, and you even said it too, with regards to the idea that you not necessarily totally money motivated as your number one thing. There's other things around life that you like to do and want to contribute to. Well, what we want to do is we want to have our time back so that we can do that.
Sure. No doubt. Yeah.
So that's what profit can get you. It can buy you back the time, because as one of my favorite marketers says, Dean Jackson, there's only 24 hours in the day. You can't buy more and you can't use less. There's only 24 hours in a day. You can't buy more and you can't use less. So in that case, all you can really do is buy other people's times to take off some of those frustrations, those managements, so long as the accountability is in place and you've set up the right process in order to do that, and you can move yourself up from the management of the business into the leadership portion, then you can start doing some of these other things and really enjoy some of the freedoms along the way.
Which is awesome. And you can't enjoy those freedoms unless you bust ass to get there. For sure. That same mentor told me a long time ago, Jay, if you want to be successful, work half days. I was like, 4 hours? He's like, no, 12 hours. There's 24 hours in a day. and I go, okay, I got you.
And I mean, I think there's definitely truth to that, especially when you're starting up, right?
Yep.
Especially when you don't have the team around you. You just have to do it. You have to put in your time.
Yep. You got to clean toilets first. That's just how it is.
Gotta do it.
That's how it is. And I'll go back to doing it if I have to. And I'll just build it back up. Up. I really appreciate you being on. This has been awesome. Pete, how can we get a hold of you? What's your ideal client? Is there a vertical that you love? Emails, website?
Yeah. So for me, I work with a lot of business entrepreneurs sort of that are in the, successful business owners that are already doing well and want to do better. And typically that sort of sweet spot is sort of in that $2 million to $10 million range, where they have a team of sort of in between 7 and 25 people, a lot of insurance, a lot of realtors, different realtor teams. I work with retailers too, because I'm of course a retailer. So I've got a lot of retailers that I work with. So and my background service. So I work with a lot of service HVAC people, different things like that too. So, businesses that, because I have had a variety of different experiences along the way, I can speak to a lot of that sort of stuff. And, the best way to catch me is just search Simplifying Entrepreneurship. You'll reach my site. One of the things that we're launching next week, actually, I've got one there already. It's Take the Assessment up in the upper right-hand corner of my site. But I'm having this new assessment put in. It's going to be done by the end of the month here at the end of October. And it's going to, when you take the assessment, which takes about 15 minutes, it will spit you back a report that's between 50 and 60 pages of how you're doing as a leader, how you're doing in your business, and what you need to work on, whether you use a coach like me or whether you just have the knowledge of what you need to work on so you go ahead and do it yourself. It's a really valuable, I'm really excited about it. So that's cool. One of the things.
I'll take it. I'll go on and take it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's really good. I've already seen it, of course, but we're just in the final sort of, finalizing, getting it out there, but I expect it'll be out within the next week. I've got one there now, which is good. This new one's going to be really good. So that's just on Simplifying Entrepreneurship, upper right-hand corner. And then I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on social. Pete Mohr, Mohr is the right spelling of my last name. There you go. And you'll find me all over there too.
So this is another thing that I love about entrepreneurs, because you get excited about the things like we got to do assessment. It's going to be awesome. And we do that over here. We're like we got this new soundboard in. I'm like, dude, we got the new soundboard in today. It looks great, but It's not hung up yet, but it looks great sitting there against the wall. But
thanks for having me on the old soundboard,
Jay. I'm sorry. We'll get you back. We'll get you back on here. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it again for sure. I appreciate your time. If you want to hold on after this, we'll talk. We'll chat in private. Thanks, guys. Everybody, be kind to each other out there. We good?